Americans to know what this is. This is the spiritual successor of the 1939 German-American Bund rally in the same building. This is the spiritual successor of the darkest kind of impulses. He is stoking it. He is feeding it. The combination of racial and ethnic hatreds on the one hand, you think that you've sort of processed it. You think you know who he is, but folks really don't.
More reactions to this because obviously the mainstream media is having a bit of a hissy fit right now because somebody told some jokes, and also to go on top of that, we shouldn't be surprised that these people are screaming and hollering Nazi rally. Even though Madison Square Garden has hosted Franklin Delano Roosevelt, it's hosted JFK, it's hosted Richard Nixon. It also hosted the 2004 Republican National Convention, but then again, at the same time, they'll probably call that a Nazi rally looking back at the past. That's just what the hell these people do. Now, before we get started on this, make sure you guys please hit the like button. Make sure you guys go ahead and cut the notifications on for the channel. Make sure you guys are, in fact, hitting that thumbs up button. It helps the video out. It gets the video up the algorithm, helps us beat the censorship. If you guys are new here, please consider subscribing and let us go ahead and move forward. So with about 7 days to go, in this election, the mainstream media is now focused on jokes.
Absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there.
Y'all know what the craziest part of this Tony Hinchcliffe clip is?
A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay, all right, okay, we're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody.
Yeah, the craziest part is that he had to run that transcript through the Trump campaign for them to put it up on the teleprompter.
Guys, I obviously chose to play the joke that triggered everybody, but I also then chose to play that TikTok, which I will go ahead and respond to now, and I will go ahead and say to you guys that this was actually genius. You see, now the mainstream media is talking about nothing but offensive jokes. And it's not like Trump said these comments. It was Tony Hinchcliffe, a comedian who has come out and endorsed Donald Trump. The guy from Kill Tony. Also, something else, too, about this guy. This guy's comedy is more along the lines of an insult, kind of like what Don Rickles used to do. If you guys have never heard of Don Rickles, I'm pretty sure most of you guys have. All you got to do is just go to Twitter and type in Don Rickles, old comedian. He starred in the movie Kelly's Heroes' Crap Game. I was going to do a review on that film for Gear Issue 33, but of course he will probably come back up when we talk about movies and stuff on that channel here in the near future. Basically an insult comedian. That right there is what he, for the most part, he is. I mean, of course, he's absolutely hilarious. The bit from Netflix, of course, he did a special with Shane Gillis, the Trump impersonator, but he also did a bit, he did an extremely impressive bit, the roast of Tom Brady. He wasn't the only comedian there, but I'll play some of that for you guys over the course of this video, so make sure you guys stick around. The point is this right here. Nobody should be surprised that liberals are calling the Madison Square Garden rally a Nazi rally. Nobody should be surprised that these people are saying this. Nobody should be surprised that these people in the media are triggered about a couple of jokes, of which I'll play some over the course of this video, because that right there was not the only zinger. And of course, it did fall flat, as you guys are seeing in the B-roll footage. Some of the Puerto Rican guests at the rally weren't exactly enthused by it. And, of course, some of them weren't exactly, how do I say, upset by it. Some of course, they thought was funny. Maybe they thought to themselves, you know what? There is a situation going on in Puerto Rico that's got to do with like a landfill. So maybe there's some truth in the joke. And also to go on top of that, we obviously left PR for a reason. So there's also that, too.
I think a lot of people are seeing that rally at Madison Square Garden, seeing all those people. Doesn't mean he's going to win the race, but my point is it's discouraging that so many people would gather and rally to hate speech in America. That it's discouraging and it hurts that people who have family in Puerto Rico, who are Puerto Rican Americans, who are American citizens, are hearing hate like that. It's discouraging.
You guys have obviously seen Micah Brzezinski. You've already seen her get upset. Let's take a look at AOC.
This was a hate rally. This was not just a presidential rally. This was also not just a campaign rally. I think it's very important for people to understand that these are mini January 6 rallies. These are mini Stop the Steal rallies. These are rallies to prime an electorate into rejecting the results of an election if it doesn't go the way that they want. Because Donald Trump and that entire cadre of people up on that stage, Stephen Miller, etc., do not respect the law of the United States of America. And they either want to win this election or they are using rhetoric of taking it by force. That is what they mean, and that's what they're doing when they are inciting violence and hatred against Latinos, against Black Americans, against Americans who don't have children, you have J.D. Vance literally talking about watering down people's right to vote, depending on if they can viably carry a child or not.
And of course, she would go to CNN.
Your family's from Puerto Rico. This is not the first time that Donald Trump has said disparaging things or uninformed things about Puerto Rico or those around him. What did you think when you first heard it last night?
You know, under the Trump administration, over 3,000 Puerto Ricans died due to Donald Trump's intentional neglect of the island after one of the worst natural disasters and hurricanes in American history and the history of the entire Western Hemisphere. People in Puerto Rico were left without power for up to a year, over a year. So there's really nothing that's an accident about what was said last night. It is an authentic depiction of how Donald Trump believes and what he thinks about Puerto Rico. He even talked about selling Puerto Rico and brought up the idea of selling Puerto Rico when he was president of the United States. This is what these people believe.
I don't think that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez should be running her mouth at this moment in time, especially given the fact that she was given an opportunity to take care of her abuelita who still lives in Puerto Rico, and she found a way to miff that. She chose to get a nicer apartment, and then she turned right back around and then decided to get an electric vehicle. So I don't think the AOC should be virtue signaling at this moment in time. By the way, she also did this Twitch stream where they played Madden, which, by the way, I don't buy the Madden games anymore. Too many glitches. The product just sucks, and I don't see the point in paying $70 for a updated version of the same game I played the previous year. She did this with Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's VP nominee, and Stolen Valor Tim, Tampon Tim. And of course, they reacted to this by saying that they were disappointed in Tony Hinchcliffe's jokes. But of course, Tony Hinchcliffe would obviously respond to these people because there was a bit of a Twitter back and forth, and I'm showing you guys the tweet right now. Absolutely hilarious. Basically points out the fact that it was joke, it was comedy, and of course he loves Puerto Rico, and he goes there on vacations, and Tim Walz needs to change his tampon or something. That right there obviously being in reference to Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, who put tampons in boys' bathrooms. Crazy people these libs are. Or should I say weird? Once again, the pot calling the kettle black here, but it's actually a stroke of genius because the fact that the jokes went off the way they did, now the media is talking about jokes and they're talking about speech again. This will probably motivate more and more people to go out there and go vote for Donald Trump. I mean, there was a protest that was held today in Spanish Harlem in protest of the jokes, as you guys are seeing right here in the B-roll footage, just 9 effeminized men who were complaining about Donald Trump, which I got to go ahead and tell you right now to all those people out there saying, go vote, go vote, go vote if you're Puerto Rican. I don't think it's going to make a difference when it comes to the election because Trump has actually gained a lot with that community, even in New York City, and I'm pretty sure that they're not that offended by it. But those that are offended by it are going to be voting Democrat in a state that's already solidly blue, a lot like New Jersey, a lot like, say, Chicago and the state of Illinois and New York City. It's probably not going to do anything when it comes to the actual electoral college, which is exactly how you decide our elections. Really quick, guys, editing Paul here. There was also this bit about George Lopez's joke. Let's run this real quick.
Donald Trump said he was going to build a wall, and George Lopez said, you better build it in one day because if you leave that material out there overnight.
So, yeah, insulting Mexicans. But then again, at the same time, though, I mean, maybe he can do that because he himself is Mexican. But still, though, once again, pot calling the kettle black. But still, though, it was absolutely perfect because it got the mainstream media talking about jokes for the next 5 or 6 days, and it shows people exactly how loony the left is, how much they want to govern your life, how much they get offended anytime you say something to these people that they do not like. I would argue that last night, or it will be 2 nights because the video is going to be released on Tuesday, right around lunch. I would argue that this was the perfect way to end the campaign. The reason why is because, hey, what's the number one thing that we've had to deal with for the past 4 to 8 years, or actually past 12 years? Rampant political correctness from the radical left. It's one of the biggest reasons why it is that Donald Trump has gained as much as he has gained since he's been, let's just say, since he came down that escalator back in 2015. We've also got celebrities lecturing Trump voters right now and going after Trump over hurricane relief. I don't think that you guys want to be running your mouth at this moment in time, given the current situation in this country with Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton and Kamala Harris. I don't think you want to, I don't think you want to get involved in this one, is all I'm going to say. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video. Let's continue. Back to those jokes. Now, I don't want to turn this right here into a Tony Hinchcliffe video or anything, but I'm only showing you guys these jokes because guess what? He kind of hit everybody in this. Like, he kind of hit everybody. I mean, he didn't just hit Puerto Ricans. He hit the Jews. He touched on the Palestine-Israel situation. He touched on pretty much everything, and he even had the nerve to go after Hillary Clinton, as you guys will see in this montage.
Guys, but I think that Travis Kelce might be the next O.J. Simpson. Feels good in here. The other side's got a lot of crazy endorsements. Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party. Oh, okay. Okay, that's what you guys want. All right.
I really like that bit about the Diddy party. Don't worry, we'll get back to the montage here in a second. But you got this guy, of course, who we all know, Mark Anthony, out here running his mouth. And you got all these other people who claim to be from Puerto Rico, who are Puerto Rican, who, by the way, also left Puerto Rico and moved to the United States, or haven't been to Puerto Rico since they've been in the United States. I'm looking at you, Jennifer Lopez, who are complaining about Trump's rhetoric and what happened with Hurricane Maria. I remember that election. very, very well in 2016 when the governor of Puerto Rico decided that she wanted to be, let's just say, not so nice to Trump. She really and truly was not nice to him at all. Now, I'm not saying that Trump should have withheld funds or anything, but he did show up. He did eventually show up to Puerto Rico to make sure that the aid, the relief went through. And also, to go on top of that, he also arrived there much, much faster than what Kamala Harris and Joe Biden did in my home state of North Carolina after Hurricane Helene. And faster than, of course, this past hurricane, Hurricane Milton in Florida. I mean, there's a million different ways that we can skin a cat here, people. It's almost like the pot calling the kettle black at this moment in time. Maybe these people should kind of, like, I don't know, be quiet, or maybe it's better that these people do, in fact, talk. Maybe we might find out if they're on those Diddy party list or whatnot. Just saying, but let's continue.
I'm just kidding. That's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome. You guys are... This is a groany little morning crowd, huh? It's tough to follow this audition for the next Commissioner Gordon's over here. It is, though.
Absolutely hilarious. But my personal favorite one from the night was this bit right here on the border. Check it out.
This stuff is really, really crazy. We're right there by a wide open border. Where are my proud Latinos at tonight? You guys see what I mean? It's wide open. There's so many of them. It's absolutely incredible. Believe it or not, people, I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this. It's wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies, too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country.
Arms out, basically telling you, go back, talking about how it is that certain groups like to reproduce, love to create families, something that we need to be doing here in the United States. They're just jokes, people. They're just jokes, people. Do us all a favor and calm the hell down. But then again, though, it is the radical left, so I'm pretty sure that they will find something to, in fact, bitch about. But of course, if you really and truly want to see exactly how funny this guy is, then let me just share this bit right here from the roast of Tom Brady. Now, of course, there's going to be headers over it because it did come from Netflix, which, of course, will probably try to copyright claim this video anyways, which I'm not that panicked by because I've learned how to make the videos transformative. They put a copyright claim in on my 11 o'clock video on Monday, but I'll win the dispute. Let me just go ahead and kind of show you guys how hilarious this guy is.
Of the Giants, which is why Kevin Hart is hosting tonight. All night, he's been using the stool that Aaron Hernandez kicked out from under himself. Kevin is so small that when his ancestors picked cotton, they called it deadlifting. Tom Brady is a patriot, which is surprising considering he looks like a Confederate fag. Clearly your ex-wife takes after you. I hear she's out there draining balls right now. People love you, Tom. You have the same fan base as Kyle Rittenhouse. Gronk, I'm happy you could take a break from writing Santa letters to be here today. I knew you were here when we were all out of chocolate milk backstage. You look like the final boss in George Floyd, the video game. Lesbian, so by having here, Netflix checked off a lot of boxes. Andrew Schultz, I'm glad you took a break from watching YouTube videos on how to dap up black dudes correctly. Schultz's mom is a professional ballroom dancer, which means she's a stripper that talks too much. Kim Kardashian's here. She's had a lot of black men celebrate in her end zone. Kim, word of advice, close your legs. You have more public beef than Kendrick and Drake. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jeff.
Basically, a modern-day Don Rickles. Just type him into Twitter. Just type him into YouTube. You will be absolutely, let's just say that you will be more than entertained if you listen to Mr. Don Rickles. I think he's passed away, but still, though, his old comedy is absolutely hilarious. You can also look up Dean Martin's Celebrity Roast. Those right there were actually pretty good as well, and Don Rickles was a regular on that show. The point is this right here. This right here is quite indicative of what it is that the American people have had to deal with from the radical left. They've had to deal with the propaganda, with the dry, the insults, all the crap that we've had to put up with. So spare us the BS for an entire night or spare us the BS for an entire year. This right here is what you get. And I would actually argue that what needs to happen going forward is that we need to do more of this type of comedy. It needs to be as anti-political correct, as anti-PC as it can get, because guess what? These people's sensibilities deserve to be broken at every single instance that they open their mouths. Maybe you're a little bit sensitive. Maybe you can't take jokes. Maybe you can't take certain language. I know that I was very, very sensitive at one time. Hell, I was actually sensitive the first 15 to 16 years of my life. Extremely sensitive. And then, of course, I joined the Marines and I lost that sensitivity. Probably lost my soul in the process too, but I'm pretty sure you guys get the point. Once you're around people who joke, once you're around people who have a good time, once you're around people who have a sense of humor, who, by the way, will show you exactly what kind of sense of humor you have, and the ability to self-deprecate, the ability to, I don't know, make fun of yourself, after a while, life then becomes much, much more enjoyable. You see, I don't panic about something like that because I have an understanding of what people are thinking at this moment in time. They want some form of, let's just say, brevity to all the pressure that is right now the 2024 presidential election. You got people right now who are concerned about how they're going to pay the bills, how it is that they're going to pay for food for their kids, the price is going through the roof, and you got people out here screaming and hollering about jokes. When somebody tries to add a little bit of levity to a situation, which I will admit may have gone over the wrong way at this point in time, especially given the fact that one crowd was obviously a little bit more sensitive than the other. The fact of the matter is that it's been a long 4 years. Let's have a good time. Let's just enjoy some laughs. And most importantly, gang, let's have those laughs at the left's expense. Make sure you guys please tell me what you think in the comment section. There's probably only going to be 2 videos coming out tomorrow. This video right here and then the video that I've got on the MAGA hat situation in San Francisco. I'll be having that video out a little bit later on in the afternoon. This video will be coming out at 12 o'clock on Tuesday. And, of course, the second video will be coming out at 5 o'clock on Tuesday. So make sure you guys stick around for each. Make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.